Hey, what's going on, you guys? Happy Thursday to you. Yes, this is your girl Kwamia, but for those that can't pronounce my name, you call me Q, Kwa, or either Queen. I am the founder, CEO, creator, and most importantly, the host of Pillow Talk with the Tea podcast. Tonight, we have an amazing show. Tonight, I have some incredible people that's coming in the building that's going to be in this amazing topic with me that's called Breaking the Cycles. Breaking the cycles of all elements of things. We going deep, we getting in deep, and we're going there. And y'all know how I goes there. So I see they coming in the building and request. Yes. How you doing? I'm loving it, and I'm loving it.
Hi.
Yes.
How are you?
How you doing? I think I already. Hey, how you doing? What's going on?
Hi.
Smile. Come on now. Smile, boo. Yes, all the beautiful people is coming in the building. Listen, I love when people are punctual on time and take it motherfucking serious. Yes,
Hey, y'all.
come through. Look at all that melanin. Period. How you ladies doing?
I'm doing good. I can't complain.
Yes. Let me turn up my volume. So, of course, tonight's show is an amazing one. It's called Breaking the Cycles. I have some amazing, incredible ladies in the building with me that's going to go deep and talk raw and candid about this topic with me. So I want you guys to introduce yourself to the Pillow Talk with the Tea family. So we're going to go with Kiki. You can go first.
Hello. I am Kiki Chanel. I am a certified life coach, lifestyle blogger, as well as a fellow podcast hoster. So thank you for having me. I'm excited about this topic.
Yes. Brown sugar, babe. Brown girls, you can go next.
Hi, everyone. I am Lady J. I am host of Conversations with a Brown Girl, but I'm also a small business owner. You can follow me at Brown Girl Diagnose. I am a self-care coach, and I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Okay. And then last but not motherfucking least, you could go next.
My name is Jaquasia Vandross. I am a mental health clinician in the NYC area. I'm also a substance abuse counselor, and I am the founder and CEO of Black Girls Can Heal.
Okay. Yeah, I got some professionals in the building, so I knew what I was doing. Yeah. Yeah. So okay, so tonight's topic is called Breaking the Cycles, and basically different types of breaking the cycles could be from abuse, generational trauma, violence, family trauma, anything that got something to do with dysfunctional or unhealthy behaviors. So it's just kind of weird, not weird, but I would say in alignment, how basically that this conversation and this show is in a week where I had to be able to remove two people out of my lives. But, people come in your life for a reason, season, and a lifetime, and as well as a lesson. So I say that to say this is breaking the cycles. Let's talk about it, because everybody knows I am part of Soul Sisters reality show, where it's a healing retreat for everyone to be able to come into the house, and the common goal is for everyone to be able to get on life course and to be able to heal. Basically, I see a lot of people in our community, healing is starting to be something now accepted. Still kind of not too much when it comes to the male perspective, but it's starting to be accepted. But I want to go on this part. I don't want people to take healing as a joke, or to say as if they're healing or they're going through the journey, but they talking the talk, but not actually walking the walk. And then all of a sudden, your actions going to speak for itself, because anything that hides in the dark going to come to the light. And trust and believe, things are really going to show that needs to be revealed. So what do you guys think in regards when it comes to the people in our community and our culture, the Black and brown community, in regards to just breaking the cycles of things and in the path of healing? Do you really think people are actually now truly wanting to heal and break cycles? Or are they doing it because it's such now a hot commodity of a topic that everyone is talking about? Not everybody go at once.
I'll go first.
Okay,
I'll go first.
I can.
I believe that we have.
Okay. No, go ahead.
No, I was saying, like, within the last 2 years, we've heard the word mindset being thrown around a lot, and I specialize in mindset and personal growth. So I believe that the pandemic, us being inside and not able to go out, we had to do a lot of self-reflecting. So I believe that the healing term is coming more to fruition right now, and a lot of people are taking it serious. I do believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we still, as a Black community, we still have a long way to go. But I think that in the last couple of years, just with, Obama, Trump, all the political and social unrest, the pandemic, I think it really forced people to kind of stop and face reality. And for some, it was like, okay, let me take this opportunity to get help. Because now you have a lot of jobs that are offering free mental health care or discounted mental health care. So I think that it is now becoming a little bit more acceptable, and we're more open to hearing what people have to say. Because if you think about it, look at all the celebrities that are coming out saying that they've had mental illness and they're getting help. Charlamagne the God and Taraji P. Henson are the two that pop up into my head. So I think that now, with all the things that have been going on, with access to mental health care that is becoming more accessible, and we see leaders or people or some people think they're leaders in our community speaking out about their own struggles and getting help. I think now we're starting to think like, okay, it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to get help.
Right.
And your thoughts?
I think for me, it's a bit of both. I do think that healing has become trendy. And I know within our community, a lot of things that become trendy, we hop on a bandwagon. But I also do feel like a lot of us during COVID were forced into this particular lifestyle because you had to be still. Right. And being still and being rooted brings up a lot of things when you don't have the distractions. And we were very limited. Yeah, you may have been able to work from home, but it was limited. You weren't able to hook up with your friends. You weren't able to go to the movies. All the things that were distracting us post-COVID, it was no longer posing as a distraction during COVID. So we had to really sit still with ourselves. So I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I definitely agree on it is a combination of both, because I would definitely think 3 years ago when we didn't even know what the hell a pandemic was and what this thing they called that, I'm not going to say it on here because they don't like it. But my thing is, it forced people to be by themselves, to actually sit with their thoughts. And like you said, to force to now to end up going through the traumas and everything that you've been through that you probably was running away from because you got the job, the kids, the husband, the wife, all that, et cetera, and you end up creating things, or either you going out every Friday, Saturday night, so you won't be in the house. You don't have to think about these things. But then what upsets me too, because I was very aware, or I won't even say aware, I would just receive a flash of someone where I feel like, is this person really truly healing? Is this person really truly in their healing process? Because one thing about me, everything I speak, if I'm speaking to somebody one-on-one, if I'm speaking on a podcast, if I'm speaking at a speaking engagement, or either at even my women empowerment event next month, my thing is everything that I speak, everything I say, everything that I do as me, I walk this walk or either experienced it. Like 2 or 3 days ago, I just had a completely weight lifted off my shoulders with me and my brother having a conversation where I feel like he created a space where I couldn't come to him and talk to him about. But because I'm in a healing journey, and because I have a life coach and a meditation coach that gave me those tools, it was able to allow my own comfortability in my head to be able to say, hey, this is the reason why I never could talk to you or speak to you, because of this, and that. But my thing is to play on the fact that you're saying you healing, but then your action speaks louder than your words. I really have to say that's completely disrespectful. It really is to me. But so with breaking the cycles, and with you guys being a life coach and in the medical field and stuff like that too, what can you say and give people steps of how to break the cycle when it comes to different, especially generational trauma, family trauma, because it seems like those are the most two things that a lot of people deal with when it comes to, you know, breaking the cycle of something?
I think the first thing, you have to accept and acknowledge that there is a problem. If you don't accept and acknowledge there is a problem, you can't heal because you don't know what to heal.
Right.
Going back to your point about, you know, people kind of perpetrating the fraud, like, oh, I'm healing. Are they healing with what they've acknowledged that they really truly need to heal, like the root of the problem, or are they healing what they think they should heal? Because there is a difference. So for me personally, food. My dad was a foodie. He loved food. And he used food as, you know, like you came to our house, you knew that you were going to eat because Fletcher Jane was going to throw down. I'm not talking about cheese and crackers. I'm talking about ham, turkey, collard greens, macaroni and cheese. You know, I'm like, he was from the South, so good Southern food, right?
Yeah.
But then as I got older, it was, oh, my father would say, oh, keep some crackers in your car in case you get bored. You need to eat something while it's stuck in traffic. So now I'm growing up thinking food is a way to cope, right? So when I see my son and I see that I could be imparting some of those same things about food to him, for me it was, okay, let me take a step back. And I had to really acknowledge and accept that I use food as a coping mechanism, and I don't want to pass that on to my son. So let me figure out why food is a coping mechanism. Let me figure out what I need to do, what work I need to do. Let me make sure that the food in my house is healthy. If I go to eat something, am I hungry or am I upset? Am I frustrated? Let me acknowledge and accept that there is a problem. That way I know how to fix it. That's my thing. You got to acknowledge and accept.
Absolutely.
I agree. For me, it's self-awareness. Where you have to be self-aware in order to make up your mind and say, you know what, is something not right? If I'm always having a problem, or, you know, life is just coming at me so hard, why? What am I doing that's contributing to that? And once you become self-aware, you make up in your mind, like, okay, I want to do better. So you seek that help. You find a strong support system. As that the stigma of talking to somebody is just a stigma. Like, it's okay to not be okay, but you also have to know who to talk to, what to tell them, because not everybody is ready to take all of the stuff that you're going to unpack. It sounds good. There, you have people to say, oh, I'm here for you. But do you really mean that? So being self-aware, it allows you to see those people for who they are in your life, or either go and speak to someone that's non-biased in the situation so that healing can take place. And, you know, the good point was about, are you healing something that you know that exists, or are you just healing because it sounds good? Everybody is doing it. We have to go to the root of the problem in order for it to fix it. So being self-aware is what I always tell my clients. We have to first see what we can do to fix ourselves before we can actually go and tell everybody else what's the problem.
Yeah.
Right. I agree with what both you ladies said. I do believe it starts with acknowledgement and addressing, and I do believe it starts with self-awareness. But I always like to focus on definitions. So what is your definition of trauma? Because trauma is a universal term. It's an umbrella term. So what is known to society as trauma, so like we're all aware of physical abuse or sexual abuse, but not so much of how bullying can be traumatic to a child, or
Right.
Losing a parent can be traumatic, or how divorce can be traumatic. So you have to figure out what the definition is and what it means to you. And then you have to do the same with healing. What does healing look like for you? Because it's not going to look the same for everyone.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love starting with definitions and having people have a clear definition of what it means to them, because society will have you thinking it means X, Y, and Z, and it really means A, B, and C, you know,
Right.
out what it means to you, and then going down that path towards acknowledgement and addressing the root of the problem and becoming self-aware. That's a big part of healing, being self-aware. So I completely agree.
Yeah.
You can't heal if you're not self-aware of what you actually bring or what you're actually adding to the problem. Because a lot of times it's just easier to be like, oh yeah, it was her fault. It was my mother's fault. But you're 40. So now it's up to you.
Right.
It's up to you now.
Mm-hmm.
You're responsible for your healing. You're responsible for taking the necessary steps to heal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. I think stop playing the blame game. And at some point you have to take accountability for what happened, your actions, how you handle it. You have to also realize that, okay, mama probably couldn't help me because she didn't know. She may have experienced the same thing or whatever. Dad couldn't help me because he didn't know. He experienced the same thing. So it's a generation of trauma and triggers. And until you know your triggers, you're not going to even identify those triggers with the trauma to actually say, hey, mom, we need to have a conversation, because when you treated me this way, it made me feel like this, and I shrunk myself, and now I have a problem with self-esteem. So yeah, that accountability, at some point you can't blame everybody for what has happened. Take accountability and try to work through it.
Exactly.
And and that word right there, that people been saying that for the longest, how many seasons? Accountability, and not really taking ownership of their own. That's another word that I hear that's been trending for so long, that so many people will talk about it, have conversations, but don't honestly actually take on accountability on their own. But they say basically the breaking cycles and steps is, like you guys say, acknowledgement, recognition, set boundaries, celebrate, and when you feel vulnerable, examine your motives. So I definitely agree to that. And it's so ironic that you guys even say something about at 40, we still blaming, because someone said something where, well, if you know what I've been through, or or listen to what I said, then you'll know why I move the way that I move, or the way I act. So now I'm sitting here thinking, we are now about to make traumas our excuses for why we act the way we act at 50 something years old, or either at 40. And then again, we all been through stuff. We all been through something. And my thing is, a lot of people know my story and a lot of people don't. And the ones that do, you don't see me reacting or responding to no one who's basically sitting there coming near me for all the shit that I've been through and I went through. So I just think that we just have to be mindful, is that yes, we've been through sexual assault. We've been through domestic violence. We've been through different things. But to become your trauma, I have to question, that's crazy to me. Like, we're not about to make that excuse why we act towards people, and why we can't give compassion and sympathy to people. That just
I love what you just said about that. Like,
awareness. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I love what she said about don't take on that trauma. Like, don't make that your excuse, because at the end of the day, nobody is responsible for your healing except for yourself. I mean, you can go and tell them, such and such hurt me, or you hurt me, or whatever. But until you take accountability and become that self-aware, because 9 times out of 10, most people nowadays are so self-absorbed, they don't care about nobody but themselves. They don't care about what you went through. They don't care about how it's affecting you. As long as you're not, affecting their lives, they don't care. I always try to ask people how you're doing. I do a mental check-in. How are you doing? I actually mean that when I say that, because at once upon a time, I didn't care. I didn't love myself. I allowed other people to love on me. I went through things that I just don't talk about. They're going to understand. They're going to judge. They're going to say, well, why were you in that situation in the first place? Well, you don't know. Life happens. People handle things differently. I was broken at one point, but until I realized, you know what, God, I don't want to be like this. So help me. You help me. And then I got out of that. So I can tell my story without breaking down because I am healed from it. So yeah.
I also think it goes to that self-awareness piece. There are people who self-awareness, and again, that acknowledgement, that acceptance that I have gone through something, that it has changed me. Because there are people who recognize that they've been hurt and can admit, like, I've been hurt, and are open enough to say, I'm working through it. You have people who know that they've been through some things, don't want to admit it, don't want to acknowledge it, and then that hurt, anger, frustration, bitterness, it comes out, and they don't know what's wrong, or they know what's wrong but don't want to admit it. So I really think that self-awareness piece is a big part with how you interact with your trauma, and how your trauma interacts with you, and how it informs how you interact with other people.
Absolutely.
Come through tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. So, and my thing is also, because us knowing that there's different lines of when it comes breaking the cycle and different type of traumas. And the thing is, because again, if you guys may not notice, like, my conversation tonight is just a little bit in bits and pieces and clips from what happened to me this past week, because it really blew my mind. Like, it really did. And it's like, I'm sitting here like, this is just unbelievable. But my thing is also, when, like, I like the fact that you said, recognizing your trauma, that your trauma don't become you and you don't become it. And my thing is, that's where I have to go into questions. Is people truly healing? Like, that's what makes me question it now. Because I know the damn work I'm putting in. And I understand grief and loss, especially of a parent, could definitely be a trauma. It could definitely be a hurt situation. But my thing is, do not expect people to have empathy, sympathy, and compassion for you, and you don't reciprocate that back. And then tell someone that this is the way I act because, or if you listen to me, this is the way that I act. That just blows my mind. And then the other thing is, a person I have to question their healing. I really have to. And it's sad that I have to do that. But I heard one of my sisters was like, your cutoff game is strong. And my cutoff game is very strong. Why? The next step we're about to talk in this conversation is protecting my motherfucking energy and my peace.
Facts.
I have to. So, in regard to of speaking about protecting your energy and your peace and this breaking off cycles, I feel like that's what they say, set boundaries.
Yeah.
So what you guys could speak on that?
I think, like, boundaries is another journey in itself, because if you've experienced any form of childhood trauma, you're already blurred, especially if you're raised in a household where you were told to put others' needs, or where you were forced to put others' needs above your own. Your definition of boundaries is already disfigured, so to speak. So the journey in itself is going to take a while before the people-pleasing tendencies dissipate. That's literally a journey within another journey. So you have to, I think, throughout the whole journey, you just have to show yourself grace, because you're not going to wake up one morning and be like, yeah, I have a boundary with this person. I'm going to say no to this person, no to that, no to this, no to. it's not going to happen like that. You have to show yourself grace. You have to show yourself compassion, because setting boundaries is very difficult, especially if you experience childhood trauma, especially if you are a people pleaser. It's going to take time. So, but I think that is a very important part of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
I think when it comes to boundaries, we think that we have to set boundaries with other people, but sometimes we have to set boundaries for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, that's something that we really don't talk a whole lot about.
Yes.
But for me personally, when you talk about protecting my peace, I know, you know, I've spoken, I'm very open and clear about it. I've been diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and I have my highs and lows, and I have good days and bad days. And this particular time I was going through a bit of a funk, and I couldn't seem to get out of it. And I just kept feeling worse and worse. But I realized I was watching a reality show that was extremely toxic.
Mm.
And so one day I said, you know what? I'm not going to watch that. I stopped watching it. The next day, I instantly felt better, because I was already down. My energy, my vibrations were low. I'm watching this toxic show and there's other stuff going on. I had to set a boundary within myself and say, when I'm in a depressive state, I have to be very, very cognizant of what I listen to, what I read, what I watch, who I'm around. Even if I just have to stay in my house, in my room, until I go to therapy and all that other stuff, and I feel like I can kind of flow, and I'm in a place where I can actively protect myself.
Yes.
Stay away from certain stuff. So I think, yes, there is a higher level of self-awareness when it comes to setting boundaries, but I think that you also need to recognize that you have to set boundaries within yourself as well as other people.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly, because if you don't know what you expect from yourself, then you'll allow anybody to do anything and say anything and treat you any kind of way. I was once that person, because I didn't feel like I needed to set boundaries, because I was that person that everybody wanted to flock to. I always had friends and all this kind of stuff. And when I was at my lowest, I didn't have anybody. I didn't have anybody. So I'm like, okay, I'm that strong person. So where my strength? Where are the people that I poured into? Where are they now for me? And it wasn't until I started to take that self-compassion and give myself grace that I realized, you know what? I have to set boundaries, because if I don't, I'm going to die. Like literally, like die slowly within.
Yeah.
Because it's a vicious cycle to be in, where you grow up in a household, you are surrounded by love, but yet you don't feel it.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that, for me, I had to take, setting boundaries to heart, like really, like you said, set boundaries within myself and know that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to love myself. It's okay to show myself grace, to know that not every day is going to be perfect, but I'm okay. I will just stop that right there, turn off whatever it is that's causing me to feel a certain way. And I'm a firm believer you have to feed yourself things that's going to lift you up and not bring you down.
Yes.
Energy is transferable, not just from person to person. I believe songs can trigger you. Like you said, watching different television shows can trigger you. So you have to be mindful of this. Okay, if I was happy before I started watching this show, and then when it came on, I started feeling like that, immediately turn that off. Go back to something that made you happy. So being self-aware, having that self-compassion, and showing yourself grace, those are things embody when it comes to anybody, in my opinion.
Oh, you muted you.
Oh, I don't know. I said, yeah, when it comes to, the healing and setting boundaries, for me, it's just being self-aware, having that self-compassion, and just knowing when to just let stuff go,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is also, like you said, a lot of people don't talk about setting boundaries within themselves or just even with people. And I could tell that they didn't, because when I end up saying that to people, it's like, oh, it's like they face me like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just, I always just had that in regards of when even before my healing journey, because it's so many things happened to me where I had to realize I had to set boundaries, because if not, people will walk over me or they'll think they're going to take advantage. And then it's like, now me being 40, oh, these is the rules and the policies and the procedures. And it's like, but still, even at this time, you still get people that be like, oh, what is that? Like, it's like they have this surprise expression. But at the same time, protecting your peace and your energy, and even that's all at this point I even ask for. My thing is, if I don't allow my child to affect it, there's no way I'm allow someone who didn't come out my woo-ha to affect it. So
That's for real.
Because I be telling him in here, like, I want peace, like, you know. So, and it's so crazy that we have to say that, because you would think that anybody and everybody would want that. You would think that would be the common goal for everyone. But there's people, again, like we talk about the television, the reality shows, the crazy chaos and the drama and stuff. People feed off of that. People live that. That's their medicine. That's their fuel. And I remember watching, and I was like you. I was watching TV, and I remember I was watching TV with a significant other. And it's like we was having a good conversation. We was good. All of a sudden, I just completely just flipped out on him. We just completely had an argument. And he said to me, he's like, because you watching that damn show, are you really about to create an argument with me right now? So I had to really step out of myself and look to reevaluate the situation. Was like, damn, I can't even really rebuttal or say nothing to him, because he's telling the truth. Like, that's crazy. Like, I just completely started an argument with my dude because I'm watching The Real House of Atlanta, and and these bitches arguing with their significant other or each other, and here I go, or they say something about a man doing this, and here I go create an argument with him. So we just have to be very self-conscious and self-aware in regards to what comes and be brought into our self-conscious, because you may not think that you're doing it. You may not probably think that it's affecting or changing your mood. But now, since I'm aware of it, I'll be like, what Kiki said, I'll be like, boop, boop, boop. Like, I'm changing it. I'm like, like, even for instance, I don't even watch the 48 hours no more. I can't. It makes my skin crawl. And I think reason because of that, with the whole killings and the mills and the stuff like that, and me being a mother, and my anxiety will go through the roof.
Yeah.
So it's like, can't do it. Nope. Yeah. So I definitely am very aware with, and very a big advocate of people actually protecting their energy and their peace. And if people don't like it, guess what they could do? Get the fuck away. Go. Like, and my thing is, I like the fact that they say celebrate. Because after you acknowledge, after you recognize, then you set boundaries. You have to celebrate. Because I look at this as levels of elevating and healing. You acknowledged it. You recognized it. You set your boundaries for the things that you say, setting boundaries for you within and for yourself. Now you celebrating the fact that now I'm breaking cycles because I'm taking these measures and I'm taking these steps to do and using these tools. And so I really do like that. But listen, when you do celebrate, you have to realize you cannot celebrate with everybody, because everybody are not on one accord with what you're doing, the path, the journey, or the destination where you're going. Because remember, everybody is on their own timeline.
Right.
So, and it's okay to leave them back there. They'll catch up, but you might be somewhere else, but eventually you can't catch up. I want to talk about the last one. When they say, when you feel vulnerable, examine your motives. I think that's hard for a lot of Black and brown people to do. Because already it's hard for us to take accountability. So examine our motives of how we feel and what we feeling, and if it hurts us. And especially if someone you talk to or you may need to talk to after you examine your, after you feel your vulnerability, you examine your motives. I would think they now want you to go and probably speak to the person that maybe made you feel some type of way, or, you know, made you get into whatever feeling that you're feeling. But my thing is, I don't like to be vulnerable with everybody. I don't. Because I feel like people will use that and take that as an advantage. So what do you ladies think?
I think it takes courage to be vulnerable. I think it takes you trusting yourself and your intuition to know who you can be vulnerable with and when you can be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's also, I guess, I don't want to say layers of vulnerability, but maybe I am. But I know that there are certain things that I can talk to my mom about that I can't talk to my best friend about. Or there's certain things I can be vulnerable with my best friend, but not my mom. Or I can be completely vulnerable with my husband. So I think it depends on, you know, what portion or what part of yourself you're willing to share, you know, who you want to share it with and how much. But I think it does take courage to be vulnerable, to show that you're not as strong as you want to be or you need to be, that in this particular moment, I'm feeling weak or stressed or tired or whatever it is. But I do think it takes courage to be vulnerable. But I think you just really need to be careful about who you're vulnerable with and how much you're willing to share.
Okay. Let me throw this question in it. Is it because people don't like to be or don't choose to be vulnerable, not only just because, of course, I believe in selecting and being selective of doing that, but is that because also that person don't create that environment or space for you to be vulnerable and to share?
I think as Black women, we don't like to be vulnerable because it has been ingrained in us that we can't show vulnerability. We can't be weak. We have to be strong. We have to be strong because we're the caretakers. We have to be strong because we're the providers. We have to be strong because we're the nurturers. We have to be strong because we don't have safe spaces for us to be weak. Mm-hmm. So I think for Black women, it's an internalized pressure not to be vulnerable, but I also think it's a communal pressure. I think it's been passed down. You know, Big Mama didn't show weakness. She worked 2 to 3 jobs to provide. And so I think for Black women, it's a number of things. I think we are expected to be strong and not show vulnerability, but I think we also have to almost be that way because there are, like you said, there's no safe space for us to show vulnerability.
Mm. And see, that's the reason why I have to really trust someone, because what Joyful Connection said, some people would throw it back in your face a lot. Mm-hmm. And especially if I don't trust that person, or if that person have it. Because one thing about me is when I meet somebody, or if I'm about to build and create a relationship with them, if it's friendship or whatever it is, I give them already the loyalty. I already trust them. I'm giving you already all the appetizer, the entree, and the dessert at the beginning. At the end of the day, it's what you do with it. If you fuck it up or you elevate it to a whole different level. But when you fuck it up, I'm not giving it back to you. So come to me talking about, I apologize. You know, we got to work on this, because I ain't got time for that. I really don't. Because at the end of the day, we all know that life is too short. Tomorrow is not for either one of us. Mm-hmm. When we do wake up in the morning to see the sun, to thank God for another day, to see another day, because somebody didn't see or wake up to say thank you. Right. Then I got so much shit going on. There's no way that I really gonna have time to say, okay, well, you know, since you did this and did this, so let's, you know, now you got to rebuild. And it's really difficult to rebuild trust with somebody that damaged it already. Right. But, you know, but that's my thing is I have to really trust you in order for me to give that vulnerable side, because not you getting the G dog like, all day. Like, I can't give it to you. I can't give it to you. So, but,
I think for me though, I can be vulnerable with complete strangers. I have that discernment and I tap into that. So right. I'll know if I can tell somebody. Like, I just met friends on this platform that I can really open myself up and be vulnerable a bit. We haven't known each other for long. It's just a matter of, if you talking to them and they giving you that attention, undivided attention, they speaking life into you, then why not talk to someone like that? The worst thing that you could do for me is ignore me or make me feel like shit for opening myself up to you because you're not paying attention, or you just sitting there like, okay, are you going to even say anything? Even if you don't have anything to say about what I'm trying to talk to you about, just say, I'll pray for you, or I don't know what to say. Maybe you need to speak to somebody. Have something to say though. Don't just sit there and make me feel stupid for even saying something to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that right there drives me. That drives me.
Why a lot of people don't share their story, because it does take an amount of strength to actually share your story. And when you get to the point where you're ready to share your story and you're not getting the feedback or, you know, the conversation or advice that you were expecting, that's what cuts people down, and it's a trigger for a lot of people. Going back to childhood trauma or going back to any specific trauma, when you were let down by someone, or you trusted someone, or you opened up to someone and they didn't receive you in the way that you thought they would. So
that's a good point. That's a good point. I think what my thing that comes from me comes because people had done that to me in my past.
Yeah.
So that's why I just feel like I'm very selective, and just like even Kiki said, you could be vulnerable with like-minded women or men that you never met a day in your life, because they create in that space. You feel that connection. Energy is real. You can feel the sense, you know, of the prophecy through, even if it's through the screen. But I'm still very cautious with that, because people could wear a mask for a certain amount of time and
right.
like they are who they claim it to be. And then after 90 days, that mask start to crack off and you start to see who they truly are. So I'm very, very, very cautious. But I like the fact Joyful, she's bringing it tonight. She said, I'm comfortable being vulnerable, but I only share what I want. I'm always in control. Woo, girl.
That's so true. That is so true.
You know, a lot of people will make you feel as though you're mean because you set boundaries, and what you're doing by being cautious about sharing your story with certain people is you're setting boundaries. You're setting boundaries because something happened to you and you know that you don't want it to happen again. So you told yourself, okay, this is what's going to happen, and I'm not lowering my standards for no one. I'm not breaking down this barrier for anyone. I'm not going to remove this boundary. That does not make you mean. And a lot of people will assume that you're mean or make you believe that you're mean, but that does not make you mean. Setting a boundary that's going to protect you, protect your energy, and protect your mental health. So if you got to set a boundary. If you feel like you want to disclose to the world, cool. But if you feel like you only have a certain amount of people that you want to share your story with, that is cool as well.
Yeah. And that's so true, because I have been called mean because I do have standards and boundaries. And I'm very cautious, and I guess they'll be like, oh, you mean? It's not that. I'm just so weird to the fact that I'm just not going to share it. But people could label me all day. I don't give a fuck. When they stop labeling me, that means they stop paying attention. She said, and I never tell someone, don't tell anyone. But if they do tell, it's my truth, and I am my truth no matter what. See that right there? Do you really have to tell someone not to tell something you do? We really got to go to that, like a clause on it before?
Man, listen. Yeah, some people just talk too much. Some people
Yeah.
would love to tell your business to keep the spotlight off them.
They
So
do.
they gonna tell your business because they don't want nobody else to know what the hell they got going on. So yeah, you have to say, listen, I'm telling you this. If I hear it for somebody, I know you done told it.
Right.
And that's the quickest way to have me. Like, my cutoff game is strong too. That's the quickest way for me to be out your life. Like, let me tell you something, and I found out that you done told everybody and their mama. And I'm from a small town, so if you did say something to somebody, everybody was gonna know anyway. Like I love my grandma to death, and God bless her and rest her soul. She was like the news, man. If you told her something, everybody was gonna know. Everybody was gonna know. So yeah, like, and that right there creates trauma, and it has triggers that goes with it. So people don't realize that when someone comes to you and they're opening themselves up and they see something in you that they feel comfortable enough to share their story with, man, don't take that for granted, because everybody don't have that. Everybody is not going to be open enough to say, hey, this is what I went through. This is how I'm feeling. I trust you enough to help me through it, or just to be my listening ear or my shoulder or what have you. So, I just tell everybody to just be mindful of the situation, regardless of who it is that's coming to open themselves up to you. Be their safe space, and they'll do the same for you.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
And yo, she killing it. She said that's why people love me, because I am true to myself and my standards always. I never say that because I have nothing to hide. And I want to go back to what she said, because that's even, and I'm sad, I hate to say this, but I end up accepting it. With certain people, even within my family, I'm very selective of what I tell them, because it's like whatever I choose to tell them is that they do go back and tell somebody. I'm like, okay, well, you ain't got the full picture of the whole thing, so I'm going to give you what I want you to know. You're not going to get everything, and it's so sad to say. But just going back to breaking the cycles, and even with stuff like that, and it's like with your own family members, is a lot that you have to break the cycle with them. And let's go to this part. This is the last bullet point in this. Breaking the cycles of old wise ones' habits. I hate the saying, when they say, oh, I'm set in my ways. We need to break that motherfucking cycle. I'm sorry, because I feel like the longest you on this earth, the long as you got breath in your body, you shouldn't be set in no ways. You should still be elevating, growing, constantly new, to exceeding, to learn something constantly new every day. And we get this because I even get it from my mom, was like, oh, you know your dad, he set in his ways, girl, and I'm like,
that's a cop out.
Person for you to say that to me. So what you guys think about that? You deal with people in your own circle or your family members that set in their ways, and you're trying to break that cycle?
Well, I can say for myself, I'm trying to raise my son more differently than I was raised. So how I was raised wasn't horrible, but my parents were religious, and there were certain things I couldn't come talk to them about. Like, my doctor wrote me a prescription for birth control. My mom took it and she was like, well, I just feel like this is giving you permission to have sex. And then I ended up getting pregnant and having an abortion. I told my son, this is what it means to be intimate with someone. If you feel like this is something that you're going to do, please come to me or your father, and we will buy condoms for you. And your father will show you how to put it on. And
I show my son too.
Well, something, he's at that age where some things he talks to me about, but then there's some things he just wants to talk to his dad about. I don't have a problem. You want me to show you, I'll show you. But I'm very open. I'm a little bit more open with certain things with him than my parents were with me. Because I would rather, and I tell him all the time, you go to a party, you get drunk, you get high, or your friends get drunk, your friends get high, call me and I'll pick you up. I want you to drive in a car. you, God forbid, you get into an accident. God forbid you get pulled over. Cops are shooting kids. Like, we live in a predominantly white area, but the cops are all white. There's very few black cops. So I am trying to break that cycle of rigidness and, you know, I don't want to say open, because I could talk to my parents about some things, but not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I just want my son to feel comfortable talking to me or his dad about something that's bothering him. I would rather, you know, people say, oh, I can't believe you let him go over his girlfriend's house. Okay, well, first of all, his dad was with him, so it was chaperoned. But I would rather know about it than him go sneaking off somewhere and get in trouble.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna let him go, and either one of us is gonna be. She came here, we were all up in the living room, peeking and everything, but I want him to feel comfortable enough that I could go to my mom, I can go to my dad and ask questions, and I won't be judged. I won't get on punishment. You know, that they understand me, that, you know, it's okay for me to talk about the questions that I have. So I'm trying to raise my son differently than I was raised, and raise his children in a way that they feel comfortable going to him. And I'm forward thinking. So I want to raise my son a little bit more open-minded, hoping that he will raise his children a little bit more open-minded, so that there is that comfortability where we don't have to worry about breaking cycles. I'm hoping to break the cycle to break the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to break the cycle of my parents. I could go to them and talk to them about anything. I just chose not to, because, like I said, sometimes I would tell my mom certain stuff and she would tell everybody, and I'm like looking like, really, you really had to do that? And so it made me put up a wall and say, you know what, I'm just not gonna tell her that I'm having sex. And then guess what? The baby coming, and I'm 8 months pregnant, and she just finding out about it.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like she hid to protect her mama, because ain't nobody know but you know, her dad, and you know, we're married to this day. But yeah, it was like I could have gone, but then what do you do when you just like, if I tell her, she gonna tell everybody else, and I'm not ready to deal with that right now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna be a teenage mom, and I'm trying to process, I'm about to be somebody's mama. I'm not ready for that yet. So I would love to tell my mama, but I'm just gonna keep that inside, because I'm not ready to deal with everybody else knowing.
Right.
So it becomes like, okay, now, you know, with my family, I have to break that cycle of saying, you know what? Yeah, I know that they could come talk to me, but I have to stay on that, because I don't want them to feel like, yeah, I know I can come talk to my mama, but I don't want to do it. So I have to be mindful of that and find different ways to, you know, combat that.
Yeah.
I think what both of you said just nailed it. Like, you hit the hammer nail, you know the saying.
Mm-hmm.
But like, when people think of breaking generational traumas, they believe, they're under the assumption that they have to go back and break every single cycle that has been, you know, passed down through generations. And it's just about picking one that you didn't necessarily agree with, one that you found quite difficult to grow up with, and breaking that cycle. And both you ladies, like, really explained it thoroughly. Just find something that you want to change in your family, rather than that tired saying, oh, I was raised like this and I turned out fine. You did not turn out fine.
No, absolutely.
I'm set in my way. I'm too old to change. Nobody is too old to change. Nobody is, you know, too old to grow. So yeah, that's exactly what breaking the cycle means. Finding something that you want to change.
Yeah.
That change breaker. Don't wait. Don't use excuses. Don't blame it on other people. Finding one thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what do you ladies say to somebody who is stuck in their ways and they use that as a cop out not to change? What do you say about that?
Well, bring that up, because I was thinking of my mother, and my mother has a lot of childhood trauma, lots, and she doesn't talk about it. And I am of the believer that she has kept it in to where it's affecting her physically. And I actually was talking to my therapist about it, and I said, she really needs to go to therapy. She needs to, go to a trauma therapist. And my therapist said she has lived with it so long, it would almost take too much out of her to deal with it and let it go.
Mm.
And that was a very powerful statement.
That is.
And I kind of sat back one day and I was like, on one hand, I get it, because sometimes you just need to leave well enough alone.
Right.
Not saying that it's right, not saying it's wrong, but sometimes the outcome may not be what we expect.
Yeah.
If all that stuff at her particular age is drudged up, it may do more harm than good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's counterintuitive, but sometimes you just have to leave it alone, because I think the outcome might not be what we expect. Then there are other times where I think that and that goes back to boundaries and protecting your peace, if that person is not willing to change and it's affecting your life, cut off game.
Right.
Or boundary. I can only be around this person for X amount of time. That's why when holidays come around and people got to be with their, no, you don't have to go to your family dinner.
Nope.
Right.
You don't have to. If you know that person is toxic and they're going to start set about, listen, I'm going to go for 15 minutes, and at minute 16, I'm walking in the door, I'm in my car.
Right.
I'm not even going at all.
Right.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
It's just because it literally would drain you. People would suck the life out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Then you come home and you like, whew, and then it's like you exhausted because everything has been sucked out of you just to sit there and just to go for 15 minutes.
Right.
So it's like I just don't even end up going. And if I do, I just go to my mom's and call it a day. And sometimes I have to ask her who's coming over.
Right.
Right.
Like, I really do. I hate that. And I hate that it turned like that, because I think also it turned like that because the matriarchs and the patriarchs are no longer here. So it's like now the family is just so goddamn disconnected and so dysfunctional that it's like they trying to stay connected, but it's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my thing is the whole, setting the ways, or either sweeping stuff under the rug. Let's not talk about that. I don't like that. I agree with you saying that certain things may not mean to be talked about because they may do damage or harm than good. But I'll be very selective, because I'm like, yeah, maybe that probably won't, but we not gonna pretend like this didn't happen. Like, everyone just seen this. Yeah. So we about to walk around this pink, big ass, fat ass elephant, and we not going to say that this shit's sitting right here in the middle of the living room.
Right.
We gonna pretend like we don't see it. So those are two things that I definitely breaking the cycle of, because I feel like it cripples the communication between the dynamics, the people in the family, because it's like everybody talking to one another except for the person they need to talk to. And it's like, and I know because I am one of the people that everybody come to, and I'm like, so why won't you go talk to her? And it's like, some people can't, some people like, well, I can't, and I understand that, but then we're not going to resolve anything. So I definitely do my darndest to break that cycle, to make sure that my family could not continue to be set in their ways, to end up sitting there trying to continue to sweep things under the rug, as well as stop going to everybody and not talking to the main person you have the issue with. So those are my things. But it seems like my family is definitely coming along. So I gotta give them applause. Just keep going. Rome wasn't built in a day, But I also think what happened is because they see my healing and they see my growth, is motivating them to want to do better. So I definitely appreciate So listen, ladies, if you guys ain't got nothing else about breaking the cycle and our topics, I have to definitely say that tonight has been an amazing show. It has been wonderful. I hope that we actually touched some people. If we ain't touched some, hopefully we touched one, and that people could take the benefits of, you know, being unapologetically you. More, not less. Had to plug that in. But absolutely. So what is some parting pillow talk with the tea would you tell the people about, you know, just breaking the cycle and just advice you would give them? Anybody could go first.
I'll go first. For me, is just make sure that if you know that there's a problem or you feel that there's a problem, is probably is, acknowledge it, accept it, set those boundaries, celebrate, like we said, and just love on yourself. When you love yourself, people will see that, they will respect those boundaries, and you set the tone for how you allow them to be in your space.
Mhm.
If you can't abide by my rules or my boundaries or my standards, then you probably need to back away, because I'm not adjusting myself for you. I've done that too many times, and it's only caused me pain. So if the things in your life are causing you more discomfort than comfort, it's time to make a change.
Yeah.
So know that it's okay to change. That's what we're here for, to change, grow, and evolve. And I say this all the time, although those things mean the same, it's different levels to them, and you have to tap into those levels as you navigate to your highest self. So that's my closing remarks.
Okay, now.
The one thing that I want to say is just to remember that the journey is yours, meaning belonging to. It's no one else's journey. You have the right to move at whatever pace you want to move at. It's no real steps towards healing. One day you wake up and you may have a boundary form. One day you may feel like it's a major setback. One day you may feel happy. One day you may feel sad. Just acknowledge how you feel. Just don't build a house and live in those feelings. Journey. Take all the time that you need. It's not a rush. It's not a singular event. If you go nonstop, you're still not going to get to where you need to be, because it's a lifelong journey. So in this journey, celebrate the things that you do. Acknowledge the small wins. Acknowledge the large wins. Just, it's your journey. Just remember that it's your journey, which means belonging to.
The thought that comes to mind is that healing is not linear. It's not going to go straight uphill. It's going to squiggle, and you may take 10 steps forward and 5 steps back. But in all of that, give yourself some grace. Don't beat yourself up when you have an off day. Every day is not going to go perfectly. You're not going to be perfect every day. You may see a relative and one day cuss them out. Don't beat yourself up, because maybe that you weren't having a good day. You know, the next time you see that relative, you don't cuss them out. You set your boundaries. You celebrate that win, but just give yourself some grace. Be patient with the journey. Know that it's not going to be perfect. Know that there will be setbacks. But as long as you have that mindset that I do want to change, I do want to heal, let that drive you.
Yes.
Yes.
And my part in tea and advice to you guys is, it is okay to be motherfucking selfish. It is okay. Protect your peace, protect your sanity, protect your energy and your space, and do it unapologetically. Don't care about what no one has to say, because at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you.
Right.
Period.
And if you are on the healing journey to break the cycles that you need to break within yourself, that's around yourself or in your family, yes, it starts with you to do that. And just like mine, because I'm doing so, I'm motivating others around me without me even knowing that I'm doing it, unless they tell me, and it's cool. And they could also motivate them in silence, which the silence is very well. My thing is, when doing so, just know that healing is not a 9 to 5. It's not a Monday to Friday. It is not a Sunday to Sunday. It is a 365 days motherfucking lifestyle. And So you have to take your time and patience with yourself, because just as my sisters say, it is a roller coaster ride. You're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs, you're going to have your ins and your outs, but just know that, just be patient with yourself. And then not only that, but also reward yourself when you do. It is okay, because one step is a win. Even if you do get pushed to that, don't sit in it too long. If you gotta cry, cry. You gotta punch your punching bag and go to the gym and work out that treadmill extra more. Do what you gotta do. You gotta run or walk an extra mile. Do so, but don't sit in it too long. Get up and start over. And again, that was tonight's show. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys in the comments, your feedback. I love you guys that you guys participate in here. Like I said, this is much your show than it is mine. So you guys tell the people where they can find you, what you got coming up, what you got going on, and where they could be able to listen to you and tune in. And you know, support is free. Of course, support.
Well, I am right here on Instagram. I hang out on Instagram because that's where my people at the Kiki Chanel. If you click the little arrow that's next to Breaking the Cycles, our names will come up, so y'all follow us.
Yeah.
I am also on Kicking It with Kiki without the G podcast. I'm on all platforms, so y'all go check me out. I'm just started season 2. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. Or you just go to my website and see everything I have going on at www.thekikichanel.com.
Yes, yes.
Nice. Okay. You can find me again, like she said. You can drop down an arrow to get my personal Instagram, or you can follow Black Girls Can Heal. We are a community that is adamant about providing healing spaces for Black women and women of color. We offer free support groups. So we're actually running support groups now. They're virtual. And yeah, just look into us, visit our website. We have a bunch of ebooks, workbooks, all the things you need to jumpstart your journey or continue on your journey.
Yes.
You can find me at Convos with a Brown Girl. My podcast is a monthly podcast. In fact, I have a new episode coming out this Wednesday. This season, I'm talking about relationships. So this episode is talking about relationship with food, having a healthy relationship with food. I also just published a book.
Woo!
Cool.
It's a self-care workbook for the busy woman of color. All of my links are in my bio to get the show, to get the book. So I appreciate you for having me on, and I really enjoyed myself.
Yes, thank you all for coming on. So you guys already know where you can find your girl, the queen, the Q to the I to the MMH. You can find me on Instagram on Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. on all podcast platforms that host, that uploads and downloads. Not only that, you could also be able to actually see me in person if you're in the New York, New Jersey area next month, Saturday, May 21st. For my amazing Pillow Talk with the Tea, we'll be hosting is Empower Her Tribe Nation presents Unapologetically You, Be More Not Less, where we are going to have amazing women. The link is in the bio at Eventbrite. Go get your tickets now, because I can't promise you when it's going to continue to be available, because they are going fast and I see the numbers. And let me tell you something, this is going to be a very powerful event where we are having incredible, amazing women that's going to be on a panel that's going to pour in, motivate, inspire, encourage, and going to make sure that these women do not leave the same way they came in the building. So trust and believe you will want to be in attendance. And if you cannot be in attendance, you could definitely be able to contribute and donate to the Empower Her Tribe Nation organization, which is my organization underneath Pillow Talk with the Tea podcast brand. You could be able to go to our Cashapp, which is Pillow Talk with the Tea, put the $ in front, or either to our PayPal, and be able to give to the cause, and so we can continue to stand on one another's shoulders and truly be my sister or our sister's keeper. So I do appreciate you ladies tonight. Thank you so much again for coming on. Kiki, we got to do something on your show. Ow!
Yes. You already know I'm reaching out. You already know I'm ready. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm so
listen,
excited.
hit me up or go in the link and go to my calendar and book me. Because your girl is booking busy. But definitely
Yes.
so much. I can't wait because I know that's going to be amazing. But definitely, I appreciate you ladies so much. Again, thank you so much again. Make sure you go follow every last one of these amazing, beautiful goddesses because they have such amazing content, amazing, great shows. And trust, believe, like I always say, support is truly, truly, truly free. And not only that, I appreciate you guys enjoying the conversation and participating in the conversation. So I see you again here next week with an amazing, great panel of women again on with another great topic, but you won't know until 2 days before and who will be part of that panel because I don't drop it until a day or two before. But absolutely, I love you guys. If nobody ain't tell you, you have a great night. Make sure you be unapologetically you and don't give a fuck what anybody say because you are who you are and you came in this motherfucker by yourself and you're gonna leave by yourself.
Right.
Peace. Good night.
Good night.